Good evening. Welcome to the Pearl Report. I'm Diana Lin. 350 million people worldwide have rare diseases. Hong Kong has no official definition, policy, number of sufferers, and little subsidies for the often costly, life-saving medication for the ailments. And some new drugs are slow in coming to Hong Kong. Producer Yan Zhou finds out, is there a silver lining for those waiting indefinitely for affordable and accessible treatment?
雪雪奶茶，哎呀，真係喎，又幾叻喎！做導航啊？佢係咪？佢做咩啊？係坐好啦，好先啦。係啊，今日比較差咯，好人。佢出咗世之後。
A month after she was born, she started having seizures 20 to 30 times a day, and she has moderate mental retardation.
Kong Hiu Ching is now 26.
Even if I keep watching her, she might fall down the second I turn my back on her. She's been injured many times.
Zi Ching, 3 years older than Hiu Ching, died a year ago. They shared a similar illness.
I asked the neurologist whether the illness is inherited from me. He asked me, do you have seizures? I said, no. Are you normal mentally? I said, yes. Then he said, it isn't inherited. Take anti-seizure medication for a few years. We will treat it as epilepsy. Until my younger daughter also had seizures, they were checked again and diagnosed with tuberous sclerosis complex. That was the first time I heard about this disease.
The doctor also found Mrs. Kong had a genetic mutation causing TSC and passed the disease on to both her daughters.
He saw we have similar growths. He also said 90% of patients with this disease have mental disability and seizures, but you don't have both. It's very uncommon.
If one of the parents has this disease, 50% chance the children will have this disease.
TSC affects 1 in 6,000. Hong Kong has an estimated 200 TSC sufferers.
Because of my own ignorance, and no doctors could tell me either, I brought them into this world. They suffer much more than I. I can live a normal life, but my heart feels guilty seeing them.
It will be very difficult to do antenatal kind of diagnosis because there's no history.
Hiu Ching had a heart tumor as a fetus, a condition afflicting 30% of TSC patients.
Pregnant women, they will say, oh, hey, I have antenatal ultrasound follow-up. But usually that kind of ultrasound cannot detect this abnormality. You need some expertise in doing detailed abnormality detection.
Hiu Ching later had tumors in many organs, including her brain, liver, kidney, and lungs.
Hiu Ching had an 11.5 centimeter tumor in her spleen that damaged her blood platelets.
Her spleen was removed in 2013. TSC is caused by the mutation of 2 genes, TSC1 and TSC2, that control the protein mTOR regulating cell growth. There is no cure. In 2010, a cancer drug called mTOR inhibitor was found to control the proliferation of tumors in TSC patients. Hiu Ching gets the drug for free as a participant in Professor Godfrey Chan's 3-year clinical trial of mTOR inhibitor at Queen Mary Hospital.
個 liver 7.5，即係個 kidney 4 cm， 醫埋嘅，唔使驚。We can even see regression of some of the tumors and also some skin manifestation.
mTOR inhibitor also reduces the number of seizures.
About 10 to 20 seizures a month. Her movements are less pronounced. Even though the drug is not a cure, it's a life-saving drug for us. Without it, the tumors would grow bigger, causing death.
Last May, Zi Ching died from overgrowth of her kidney tumors.
Her situation worsened in 2015. Actually, tumors in her kidneys were growing very big in her teens.
Zi Cheng was not accepted into Professor Chan's clinical trial because she exceeded the age limit when it began in 2015.
I could only lament Big Sister wasn't born at the right time. At the time, the drug cost 30,000 Hong Kong dollars a month, not an amount an average family can afford.
Now, the cost is still a prohibitive 19,000 Hong Kong dollars a month.
唔明白我嘅人，個個都可能以為我係一個有咗 BB 嘅媽媽，但係唔該唔係啊！我唔係有咗 BB， 我係因為呢個病生晒太多腫瘤，生到而家個肚大到係咁樣樣，我真係唔想死，求下你哋幫下我哋啦！
This April, TSC patient Chi Yin Lan appealed to legislators to help with medication costs. She died 12 days later from oversized kidney tumors. She was 36. The hospital authority has a drug formulary that categorizes prescription drugs for subsidy in public health care.
When it comes to life-saving medication, any wait is too long. The tumor or the sickness could develop very quickly. When it comes to what sort of medication should be included or listed in the drug formulary and how these medications can be utilized, the whole decision-making process should be made public, and patients should have a chance to participate.
In July, after Chi's death, the government categorized the drug mTOR inhibitor for subsidy, but only patients with a special brain tumor called SIGA can apply after an assessed review.
This drug initially was only for the brain tumor, even in the USA. Now, there are very good evidence to suggest the brain tumor and the kidney tumor arising from patients with TSC can be effectively suppressed by this mTOR inhibitor. For Hong Kong, we are maybe around 7 years delay.
The hospital authority says,
it is anticipated that everolimus for treating TSC patients with renal angiomyolipoma can be included under the Samaritan Fund coverage by the end of 2017.
But patients and doctors who've met with the HA say they have been told this pertains only to patients with renal tumors of at least 3 centimeters. Rebecca Yun's daughter, Michelle Lam, has a kidney tumor caused by TSC.
She can't benefit because her kidney tumor is only 1.2 centimeters. Michelle can't meet the 3 centimeter requirement.
Michelle also has brain tumors, but they are not SIGA. Rebecca has formed a support group called TSC Association. It has 38 members.
Even though the government has put mTOR inhibitor in the drug formulary, it's set too many criteria. Only half of us can benefit. We've been fighting for so long, I'm frustrated.
This is a monogenetic disorder, so why we have to look at each individual organ and implement treatment. So if we find that this treatment is already effective, and actually you should not wait until it grows into a certain size.
Especially for very young patients who haven't got tumors and mental damage yet. The drug can help them control seizures. They can live much better lives.
Michelle was diagnosed with TSC at 9 months old.
Her seizures were nightmares for me. The worst was 160 seizures in a month.
When Michelle was 20 months old, Rebecca took her to US for surgery to remove tumors in her brain.
I should give her a chance to live at any cost. Before we left for the operation, we took family portraits as a memento. I was very scared she wouldn't make it back.
The surgery cured Michelle's seizures, but 3 years later, she relapsed with 10 to 20 seizures a month.
This is a genetic event. It's ongoing. So you cut cover one piece today, and the other piece will grow. subsequently. So this is not a good strategy to handle this disease.
It was like going from heaven to hell. At the time, I thought technology was advancing. One day there would be medicine to treat her illness.
At 19, Michelle is in Form 5 at a special school and has the intelligence of a 7-year-old. She's in Professor Chan's mTOR-inhibited clinical trial. Her mom says the drug reduces the size of tumors, the number of seizures, and enhances her mental ability. Speaking and singing. Enjoying.
Thanks to Ms. Ho for discovering her talent in drawing. Many people praise her. It actually boosts her confidence. Her studies have improved a lot. Now we teach her a few times and she can write the words. I don't expect her to be very normal, but any little improvement is precious.
Professor Chan's trial will end in 2018, and patients won't get free mTOR inhibitors anymore.
I hope the Hong Kong government can make it a subsidized drug soon for any diagnosed patient.
I must try my best to fight for her. How can she know how to fight it for herself?
Coming up.
From her facial expression, you can tell that she is happy.
He'll gradually lose mobility of his hands.
Millions of dollars per patient a year.
Stay with us.
Welcome back to the Pearl Report. Half of the estimated 800 sufferers of rare diseases in Hong Kong are children, but the government has no official policies to subsidize them. Producer Yan Zhou looks at how patients are struggling to live as hopes dim to obtain long-awaited life-saving drugs.
Abby Ho, aged 5, has been on life support since birth. Abby has type 1 spinal muscular atrophy, or SMA.
This is a disease caused by a genetic mutation in the SMN1 that lead to degeneration of the motor neuron. Muscle innervated by the motor nerve would weaken and atrophic. People named different severity according to type 1, type 2, and type 3. Those with type 1 have the earliest onset of weakness, usually before 6 months old.
During the second month, when I lifted her arms, they were floppy. It took her quite long to finish 1 bottle of milk. Her crying was very soft.
Most of the time, the children will have hypotonia, less forceful kicking. Crying is not as loud as before, easy choking.
SMA affects a range of 1 in 6,000 to 1 in 10,000 births.
Most of the children with SMA type 1, if without any treatment or medical support, they will die before the age of 2.
We were heartbroken.
At 4 months old, Abby started to have difficulty breathing.
As the child grows, the respiratory muscle is weakened, so they have to breathe faster or to use more force, try to keep up with the breathing. Sometimes when they cannot do so, they need to have some external support to help them to breathe.
Initially, Abby used a respiratory mask.
It sometimes blocks her vision, for her to see things, and also it puts a lot of pressure on her facial bones and her forehead. Almost every day she needs to be resuscitated. We finally made a decision for her to let her breathe through a tracheostomy. Very easily, we can just clear her airway through the tracheostomy.
They will be prone to have pneumonia. The effort to cough out and to clear up their own secretion in the airway will be weaker.
Abby spent 3.5 years in hospital.
They are very fragile medically, and a simple cold and flu can take their life away. We don't want her to grow up at the hospital. She should explore the world more.
So they brought her home to her own bedroom.
Our room is a connecting room with hers. We try to simulate a hospital ICU.
The equipment operating round the clock include ventilator, oximeter, cough assist machine, etc. They cost some 250,000 Hong Kong dollars.
Many of the most costly items, we were very lucky enough to get a sponsor from the patient support group, but we had to buy some. The one on a rental basis, it's around $10,000 a month. Right now, we are only getting disability allowance from the Social Welfare Department. It's $3,300 per month, and that is only enough to cover us partially on medical consumables, maybe the syringe or the feeding tube. I need to take care of her. So my husband is the only source of income. He now works 7 days a week. She did a procedure to install the gastrostomy tube for feeding because she cannot swallow because she was choke herself. When Abby was just over a year old, she was still able to smile. She is able to make some sound. And sometimes I ask her, "Can you call me Mama?" And you hear her saying back to you, and I just take that as a mom. We communicate with her through her eyes and with her hands. Sometimes she waves like this.
Marcus Ng, aged 5, also has spinal muscular atrophy.
His onset was at 4 months old. Before that, he could move his feet and more of his hands. He can stick his tongue out, but he's gradually losing his agility. For instance, his hip joints will change shape. His hamstrings or his hand sinews will start to bend and he'll develop scoliosis.
He has physiotherapy twice a month at home.
It's important to loosen his sinews. If you don't do it, his muscles would atrophy quickly.
Wennis has spent 88,000 Hong Kong dollars on rehabilitation paraphernalia.
We bought him a passive bicycle to help exercise his feet. A standing rack, good for his bone development.
And gear to exercise his arms.
He can only move part of his upper limbs and 1 or 2 fingers.
Marcus attends primary 1 at a special school. He also has therapy at Po Leung Kuk to strengthen his fingers, learn how to control a mouse, and improve his speech.
Whether going for medical checkups or to school, we need to take a rehab bus. It's best if he can do 2 appointments a day. He won't be too tired. We need to monitor changes or any special problems in his health. Then we request to see some specialists. No doctor has ever said your SMA child should go to which medical departments or given us a list.
But plans are in the offing.
A project called Where for Rare. Pediatrician, physicians, or clinical geneticists will formulate an overall care plan. Case manager would arrange clinics appointment, transportations. And when these patients actually get sick and admitted into the hospital, they can have a very quick review of the rare condition and what are the important issues to pay attention to.
SMA is incurable. Last December, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration approved a drug called Spinraza to treat SMA. Parents of SMA kids regularly monitor patients who've started on Spinraza.
Children up to the age of 2 still for SMA type 1 do not require ventilator support. They maintained their motor performance. Some can gain the ability to sit.
I really hope that one day she can not be attached to any medical equipment. She can live her own life happily, be a healthy and happy girl. But then after we saw the price tag, then we were overwhelmed as well.
It's a lifelong treatment costing 6 million Hong Kong dollars for 6 injections in the first year and 3 million Hong Kong dollars from the second year on.
It's so expensive. Even a few generations of my family will sell blood. We will not be able to afford it. I beg you to save our children.
Spinraza is available in the United States, European Union, Canada, Japan and Turkey, but not in Hong Kong.
We have to ensure citizens will not be denied proper health care due to a lack of means.
I think it's really a rhetoric, a slogan, and unfortunately, it becomes a lie to many patients who are, simply because of lack of means, cannot receive life-saving medications.
The hospital authority notes Spinraza is not yet licensed in Hong Kong.
HA would not consider listing unregistered drugs on the drug formulary, nor giving financial assistance to patients for use of unregistered drugs.
The initiation of the licensing process will be by the pharmaceutical company.
HA has been in contact with the pharmaceutical company concerned to better understand its plan.
The crux is public funding.
In overseas countries, they oftentimes develop contracts to put a cap on how much the government would spend on certain medications. They based on the calculation on how many patients they might be utilizing the medication, the cost of the medication. It's really the government's role to negotiate with these huge pharmaceutical companies.
Dr. Chen says another barrier is Hong Kong has no definition of rare diseases.
Overseas, to facilitate the development of these important or novel drugs for the rare disease, they have quite clear legislative guidelines, but rules and laws to support it.
The Food and Environmental Hygiene Department says
definition of rare disease varies among countries with different characteristics of the respective health systems and situations.
Without a definition, no policy can be formulated. When you think about a policy, the first thing is which group of people this policy should take care. The drug expenses every year and other social support expenses.
They're losing their abilities, like bit by bit.
Time is not with us. Our next step is to host a fundraising event while waiting for the government.
Well, thank you for watching our show. It will be re-aired on Monday, Tuesday and Saturday, as well as online and on mobile apps. Until next time, from the Pearl Report team, good night, good luck and good health.